to see the evidence that Dr. Fauci actually did fund gain of function investments. Frankly, my bet goes with Dr. Fauci. He has been a great leader on the health front the entire time of COVID. I appreciate Senator Paul asking these questions. It should be explored. But I still think that until it's proven that he is misrepresenting the facts, my bet is on him.
Okay, I just want to let Nan respond really quickly to that because I see you shaking your head in the corner there. I just want to see what you have to say about that.
Now, with all due respect to Ken, and I understand his admiration for Dr. Fauci, but the evidence is clear. These funds did go to the Wuhan Institute from the NIH, whether directly or subsequently through this other third party. This happened. You can't trust this. The people you can't trust are the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. You can't trust Peter Daszak, who is deeply affiliated with them. And unfortunately, Dr. Fauci has also called our own trust for him, and mine was considerable, but into question because he has vacillated so much. He has seemed to defend things that are indefensible all along the line in the past many months.
Well, that's not been my experience.
I want to make
clear. The only inconsistency I heard Dr. Fauci ever say was when he initially said that masks may not be preventive, and that was in response to President Trump's grilling of him and pressure on him. I think Dr. Fauci has been very reliable. Science changes and valuation changes. You know that, doctor. And as we progressed through this, we adapted to what the science was saying. I believe in science. I believe in Dr. Fauci.
All right, I want to give Rick a chance to talk here. Rick, in a court of law, we asked somebody who could be compromised to recuse themselves. How is this any different? If he had been working on this, how is he the right voice for the country right now?
Well, it's amazing to me that anyone in America still trusts Anthony Fauci. I mean, come on, this guy has done more damage to America than perhaps any other person in America's history. I mean, that's just the facts. And it's time for him to be held accountable. Why would we trust a man that admits that he intentionally misled the country on the mask issue, as Ken was saying, because he knew better? This is a guy with a God complex that has micromanaged our entire nation and its economy for a year. And he's lied to us throughout that process. Absolutely not. We should not trust this guy anymore. I thank God for Dr. Rand Paul for taking him actually questioning him on the things that the major media is unwilling to even ask these questions, let alone to drill down on them. And this whole thing comes back to an out of control federal government empowering a bureaucrat that no one elected and letting this guy micromanage our country. That is a constitutional problem that needs to be fixed as well.
All right, I want to switch gears here to our next topic. In Michigan, Governor Gretchen Whitmer threatened to go after the profits from a Great Lakes oil pipeline, Enbridge, if the company defies her order to shut down their pipeline. Just yesterday, former Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm spoke on the importance of pipelines. I want to play this, and then I want to get your opinion.
This is why we have doubled down on ensuring that there's an ability to truck oil in, gas in. But it's the pipe is the best way to go, and so that's why hopefully this company, Colonial, will in fact be able to restore operations by the end of the week, as they have said.
All right, Ken, I want to get your opinion on this. We're threatening to shut down Line 5 in the UP in Michigan, and she says if it doesn't happen today, she's going after their profits. This has people, I got to tell you, in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, a little bit nervous about whether or not they're going to be in the same situation that the southern east coast of the United States is in right now. What's your opinion of a governor going after the private sector and threatening their profits?
Well, despite the fact that I like the governor, I like her politics, I have to tell you that I think at the end of the day, this is more PR. You know, certainly in law school, I took constitutional law. The Interstate Commerce Clause is pretty clear. I think the federal government has control over this issue. I think a governor can say all she wants, what she's going to do. But I think at the end of the day, the federal courts take over this, and I think it'll be out of her hands. I applaud her for what she's trying to do, and I know this is the constant conflict between business and the environment. And I agree that pipelines is the best way to transport oil, but not every pipeline, certainly not underwater pipelines all the time. But this will be in the federal government's hands, so she's getting good PR out of it for environmentalists, but I don't think anything's going to come of it for quite some time.
Rick, I'll let you respond to that too. They're talking about moving on trains, moving on trucks, keeping the oil and the gas in big barrels up in the Upper Peninsula, and this is what her plan is. And in the meantime, she's threatening this company. How do you respond to that?
Well, that would make perfect sense if her name was Maduro. I mean, if she was a complete dictator, she's enjoyed her dictatorship for the last year there in Michigan, and now she's moving it into the oil industry. Listen, the left lives in a fantasy world. They want all the benefits of capitalism, but they don't understand how it actually works. And I think Dennis Prager is right when he says that the left destroys everything they touch. Think about where we were just a year ago. America was energy independent. We were no longer funding radical Islamic terrorism around the world. We were able to have all of these jobs across the country. And in just a short few months, President Joe Biden has created a border war and crisis and destroyed our energy independence. And now Gretchen Whitmer wants to just pile on by shutting down this pipeline where there is no evidence of a problem. So it just, again, they want to be able to have, as Ken said, a chance to throw a bone to the environmentalists and make them feel good. But then they're going to create incredible economic downturn and negative impact on the country in doing so.
Nan, is she doubling down because this is a good PR move? Because she was the darling of the Biden administration, but we did note that yesterday when the president came out and said these are the governors that did well on the coronavirus response, there were two that were strikingly absent, and that was Cuomo and Whitmer. So is this some sort of PR move to get back into the good graces of Washington, or does she think this is going to work with the American people?
Well, it could be. It's a ploy or play for the Democrat Party, certainly. But it is, as Rick pointed out, it is part and parcel with Governor Whitmer's generally autocratic and dictatorial approach. And I very much appreciate Ken's talking about my favorite clause of the Constitution, the body of the Constitution, namely the Commerce Clause. And I'd like to add to that, though, apropos of pipelines. Pipelines under bodies of water have a very long history, when done right, of operating safely. Notably, although they are not transmitting fluids like oil, that is, they transmit trains and oxygen, but the pipelines underneath the East River and the Hudson River that serve the island of Manhattan. You can do these things safely. We need that supply. We are going to be relying on fossil fuels for decades to come as we transition to hydroelectric and nuclear for baseload, which realistically are really the only things that we are going to be able to rely on for baseload. And that's okay. But the Democrats really, unfortunately, and Governor Whitmer is right with them, have not presented any kind of practical, realistic plan about how to address any of these things.
Yes, there's really no safe way to transition to a different form of energy without having that consistent backup that is right there, ready to go. Thank you so much, panel. Ken Altshuler, Nan Hayworth, and Rick Green. It's always fun to have your voices added to America's Voice Live, and we appreciate having you here. Coming up, Bitcoin is becoming more popular, and one retired Michigan teacher uses Bitcoin for something that isn't what the cryptocurrency was made for. Stay tuned.